Caleb Williams getting 4,000 passing yards, Velus Jones being a Pro Bowler, Keenan Allen not working out with the Bears. I'll be reacting to all of your hot takes and more in this video right here. What's going on, guys? Hope all of you guys are doing well. I'm back with another Chicago Bears offseason reaction discussion video. There's not too much to talk about right now regarding the NFL and the Chicago Bears. I actually was also out on vacation the last 2 weeks in Europe, so did not have much content out on my channel as of late. But I'm back with another video. I cannot stay away from the Bears for too long, and recently I actually made a tweet on Twitter, well, or in X, what I don't even know what's called anymore, to post a tweet on there, but I made a post on that platform and asked you guys for your hot takes regarding the Bears upcoming season. A lot of you guys left comments, so I appreciate all your comments, but I cannot get to every single one in this video, obviously, because the video would be way too long, but I'll be trying to go through some of the best ones in this video and give you guys my reaction to what you guys are predicting for the Bears. But yeah, I don't want to waste too much time. Let's just get into the hot takes. So the first one is from the Omnipresence. He said that Keenan Allen, unfortunately, will not work out for the Chicago Bears. And depends on what your definition is for not working out, because I feel like if Keenan Allen had, 600, 700 yards, that would be fairly disappointing with how good he has been in the past with all the 1,000 plus yard seasons he's racked up. But we also only paid a 4th round pick for him. The investment was so low in Keenan Allen where that still would not be considered a terrible return on investment. Now, obviously, we're hoping for 800, 900, 1,000 plus yards, but if he only has 600, 700, 800, I guess that would be a little bit disappointing. But if you're saying he's only going to have 300, 400 receiving yards, and yes, that would be considered not working out for the Bears. And it's certainly possible, right? Because as much as I love the guy, he is getting older. He's 32 years of age. He struggled with injuries the last couple of years. So there is a world in which Keenan Allen unfortunately gets hurt maybe, or just starts regressing. But the good thing is that we still have Rome Odunze and DJ Moore, even if that actually ends up happening. So I hope Keenan Allen is going to be great for the Bears. I think he will be, but even if he does not work out, the Bears should still be in a pretty good position for the long term because they did draft Rome Odunze. Next up, we got from my guy Dave BFR. He said that Caleb gets to 4K passing yards and Bears win a playoff game. If either of those things happen, Chicago is going to be erupting in excitement because, first of all, no Bears quarterback ever has passed for 4,000 passing yards. I'm sure we all know that by now. And the Bears have not won a playoff game since 2010. Okay, it's been practically 14 years at this point. So if Caleb accomplishes these things during his rookie year, that would be insane. And I do think it's possible, right? Because the team we have built around this rookie quarterback enables him to maybe reach these goals. Okay, we have Keenan Allen, we have DJ Moore, we have Rome Odunze, we have Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet. We got good running backs too now, right? Like DeAndre Swift is a fantastic pass catching running back. So there is a world in which Caleb does pass for 4,000 passing yards, and the per game numbers for that, if he does stay healthy, are not that much. Like he only needs 230, I think 235 passing yards per game if he does play all 17. Now if he does get injured a few games, he only has to have like 250 passing yards per game to reach 4,000 passing yards. It's not that hard, but us being Bears fans, we have not seen that ever because we have not had good quarterbacks or good supporting cast around those quarterbacks. But I do think that we have the good quarterback and the good supporting cast, so these things are possible to accomplish in Caleb's rookie year. Next one we got is from my guy Nick from Just Another Year Chicago Bears. He said that Austin Booker records 10 sacks and wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. That is a pretty scorching hot take. I don't think I've seen anybody predict anything close to that out of Austin Booker, and I'm not going to say it's completely impossible because it is the NFL. Austin Booker was a guy that many people thought could be going in round 2 or round 3 because he does have that high upside, but for him to get 10 sacks in his rookie year when he does have a lot of developing to do, and he did still go in round 5 for a reason, right? Like he was super raw in college football. I don't think this is going to be happening. Like, I'd be happy with 5 sacks out of Austin Booker in his rookie year. 6 would be pretty good. I think 10 is a lot. But hey, if he somehow does that, the Bears would have the best defense in the NFL. The pass rush right now is the only question mark I have. So if Austin Booker can become a star pass rusher on the opposite side of Montez Sweat with the linebackers we have, with the secondary we have, watch out for the Bears defense. Next, we got one from JayBird. He said that Velus Jones will be a Pro Bowler this year because of new kickoff return rules. If you guys missed it, the new kickoff return rules this year basically encourage everybody to take the ball out more frequently than they did the last couple years. So there's going to be higher amount of returns this year, kickoff returns. And this take actually is not as crazy as it sounds to some people. I know that we all hate on Velus Jones because he's been a big disappointment, being a round 3 pick, fumbling so much, dropping balls, not being really a big factor in this offense at all. But in 2022, guys, during his rookie year, Velus Jones actually ranked number 3 in the NFL in average kickoff return yards per game, okay? And the kickoff returns were not the problem with him fumbling. He did not fumble a single time on the kickoff returns. The punt returns, yeah, he's been bad at handling those, so I don't think he's going to be good at doing those anytime soon. But in terms of just, kickoff returns, he's been pretty good there during his Bears career so far. Now, last year, he did not really take many out because nobody really did in the NFL with how the rules were set. But with the new rules encouraging kicks to be taken out, if Velus Jones can be as efficient as he was in 2022, not fumble, and maybe break a couple through for touchdowns, there is a world in which he could be a Pro Bowler, okay? I think this is why he's going to stay on the Bears roster in 2024, because even though he has his issues, he could be a big boost to the Bears special teams as a kickoff returner, and only as a kickoff returner. I don't think he's going to be returning punts anytime soon. We got one from Bears China. Shout out to China, but he said that Caleb Williams will throw for 4,500 passing yards, and Keenan Allen will have a disappointing season, but will be made up for by strong performances from DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Now, the 4,500 yard part of this, I don't think will be happening. That would be completely insane if Caleb in his rookie year gets 4,500 passing yards. Not completely impossible, but not very realistic for a rookie quarterback's first year. But the second part of this, I already talked about this a little bit in my first hot take reaction, but I do think it's possible that Keenan Allen maybe does not have as great of a season as we are hoping for him to have. But like you said, having DJ Moore and Rome Odunze makes it okay for Keenan Allen to not be a superstar. Okay, we have so many weapons right now where if one of them is not as successful or is disappointing, we should still be fine, and Caleb Williams still should be fine. We got a -1 now. Eric Dodd says the Bears defense is middle of the pack next year. They look great in the second half of the season against some bad teams and backup quarterbacks, and we're overhyping them as a result. Now, that is true that in the second half of last year, when they did look a lot better, a lot of that was going up against some backup quarterbacks, some bad offenses, but you also have to take into account they destroyed Jared Goff and the really good Lions offense in that second game at Soldier Field, and that was no fluke, okay? That was a really good performance against a top level offense. The Lions almost went to the Super Bowl last year, so we should not brush aside that performance as being against an average quarterback, because by all metrics, I mean, Jared Goff was a pretty good quarterback last year, and the Lions offense was an explosive, deadly offense last year. But I do agree with you that there are flaws on this Bears defense, okay? We have a pass rushing flaw right now. Like, who's going to be rushing the passer on the opposite side of Montez Sweat? If Montez Sweat goes down, we're kind of screwed. So there is a world in which the Bears defense does come back down to earth a little bit, but I still do think they will be pretty comfortably top 12, top 13 at least, with how good of a secondary we have, how good linebackers we have. And if Montez Sweat can stay healthy, I still do think this defense is going to be pretty damn good. But, if there was a little bit of luck involved last year, maybe that could come back to bite us in the ass this year. Maybe our defense is not going to be as good as we thought it's going to be. Next, we got from Cass. She said our special teams unit is going to be the best in the league. And that's not crazy at all to say, okay? With adding Torrey Taylor, one of the best punters I've ever seen in college football. We already got Cairo Santos, one of the best kickers in football. We have question marks on the return team right now with Velus Jones as kick returner, but he could be pretty good if he can be as efficient as he was in 2022 and just not fumble the ball. And at punt returner, I'm not really sure who's going to be there right now, but if we can get those return spots sorted out, this could be the best special teams unit in football, with how good our, kicking and punting situation is, and with how good the return units also have been under Richard Hightower. Like, under him, we have been a top 10 fielding team in terms of fielding punts and kickoffs the last couple of years, and that should hopefully continue next season. Next, we got one from David Miller. He said the Kari Blasingame has multiple touchdowns this season, rushing and receiving. I can't recall if he had a touchdown last season. I think he might have had maybe one. I'll have to look that up, but Yeah, fullbacks nowadays don't really get as involved as they were obviously like 20, 30 years ago, but there still is a role in this offense, I feel like, for Kari Blasingame, where maybe it is possible that, he gets into the end zone a couple times. I'm not going to go outright and predict that, but only two is not too much. I think there is a world in which this could happen. Gowan from Swift Sports Network, he said that Nate Davis loses his starting job and that Gervon Dexter is our breakout player of the year. And that Nate Davis take, I've seen a lot of other people have that take too, so it's not as crazy to think that because he has missed a lot of practice. He was pretty bad last year, and, if he continues not having a good, Chicago Bears training camp, if he continues that bad start into the season, yes, he could be benched, okay, because we have a backup option now in Ryan Bates or, Coleman Shelton. I mean, Coleman Shelton is only a center, so ideally Coleman Shelton starts at center, and then Ryan Bates, if he has to step in for Nate Davis, that could be a possibility. And we are paying Nate Davis a lot of money, like it's almost $10 million per year. So if he does lose a starting job, big waste of a contract by Ryan Poles. But our staff also has shown that they're not scared to move off of players they've invested in that are not doing well. Okay, they moved off of Chase Claypool very fast after investing pick number 32 in him because it was clear he was not going to work out here in Chicago. So the staff is not scared to make a move like that. I hope it doesn't happen though, because I want Nate Davis to be successful here with the Chicago Bears, but certainly possible. And going to the second part of Swifty's argument, Gervon Dexter is our breakout player of the year. I would love for that to happen, and I actually am a big believer in that happening, okay? With how good Gervon Dexter was in the second half of last year, if he can continue to build off of what he showed on tape last year, it's certainly possible he could be like a top-level pass rusher, interior defensive lineman as soon as next year, and that would really help out a Bears defense that has question marks right now on the pass rush. Rome's Bulking Adventures says Khalil Herbert won't be on the team past week 8. So week 8, week 9 is when the trade deadline is, I believe, so he's predicting that Khalil Herbert will be traded by the Bears, and I don't think we'd get much of anything for him, even if he does have a good start to the season, because running backs are not worth that much in this league. And, you probably would only be getting a 6th round, 7th round pick if you do trade Khalil Herbert, where I feel like it probably would just be worth it to keep him if you're not getting anything at all. Okay, maybe if you get like a 5th round pick, then you could trade him, but I do think he's probably going to stay on this team next season, even if they don't plan on extending him. Just because, running backs do get injured a lot. So if DeAndre Swift goes down, if Roschon Johnson goes down, like it's still good to have the depth in Khalil Herbert, where he's such an efficient back. He's been pretty productive for us. And I do think that Ryan Poles does want to keep him at least for this year. Now, long term, yeah, he's probably not going to be re-signed by the Bears, but with the injuries that happen in this position, I probably would not want to let go of him for like a 6th or 7th round pick. At that point, just keep him until next year. Science My Podcast says, I hate how this is a hot take, but Tevin Jenkins will play between 17 and 20 games this year, playoffs baby, and earn a contract worth $20 million per year with low guarantees. And yes, if Tevin plays between 17 to 20 games this year, that's a no-brainer. I guarantee you Ryan Poles will extend him if he plays the majority of the season. The only question mark we have right now is if he can stay healthy, because so far, every year of his NFL career, he's suffered some major injury. But if he finally stays healthy, this would be a hell of a year to do so during a contract year. And I do think that if the guarantees are fairly reasonable, even if it is $20 million per year, Ryan Poles will extend Tevin because he is the heart and soul of this offensive line. Like, he embodies everything it means to be a Chicago Bear in his mentality, with how he carries himself on the football field, his nasty approach to the game. Like, I'm sure Ryan Poles wants him along for the long term, and if he does stay healthy, there's nothing else to think about. We got him from Lorato. He said that Rome Odunze finishes with the most touchdown receptions on the team. I think he'll be Caleb's favorite target in the red zone outside of Kmet. I actually do like this take a lot because I think it's very possible. Okay, Rome Odunze in college football led the nation in contested catches, so he already has that ability to go up and get those jumping balls. And in the red zone, outside of Cole Kmet, like, he could be maybe Caleb's best option to go to with his ability to so consistently come down with those acrobatic contested grabs. So even if Rome Odunze is only the 3rd receiving option on this team, in the red zone, he could be pretty big and maybe still have 8, 9, 10 receiving touchdowns. Guy Healy says they play well, but they don't make the playoffs. Nobody gets fired at the end of the season. If they do play pretty well, but they only miss out on the playoffs by like a game, then yes, I don't think anybody's getting fired, because then clearly we are building something here, with this coaching staff, with this young roster that we have. So yeah, if we only miss out by like one or two games, then, yeah, sure, nobody's going to be fired. But if we do miss out by, 3-4 games and it's not even close, well, in that situation, we probably did not play well. So that defeats the whole point of your tweet. But they do have to play well regardless, right? Like, I think the point I'm trying to make is that even if we don't make the playoffs, there has to be a lot of growth on this team on both the offense and the defense in terms of finishing games for us to be happy with Matt Eberflus going forward, because it's year 3 now, right? And the expectations are pretty high. I think that we do have expectations to make the playoffs. So if we don't make it in, yes, it would be disappointing. But if it's only by like a game that we missed out, I'm not going to be crazy mad, but I still do hope that we do, end up making the playoffs. Jelani Thurman Enjoyer says that Braxton Jones is still a better and more complete player than Darnell Wright. Both are great. Now, in terms of like ceiling and full potential, Darnell Wright definitely has a better one. He was drafted in round 1 in the top 10 versus Braxton Jones being drafted in round 5. And yes, draft position does not say everything, but at their best, Darnell Wright is more dominant than Braxton Jones is. But if you want to say in terms of being a complete player with run blocking and pass blocking, that Braxton Jones is better at this point, I'm not going to argue too much against you on that. But I do feel like Darnell Wright had a better rookie year than Braxton Jones' rookie year. So going forward, Darnell Wright probably is going to be better, but as you mentioned, I think that both are going to be pretty good. But me personally, I'm still higher on Darnell Wright than I am on Braxton Jones. And lastly, we got one for Javonte Green Muse. He says that Zach Pickens has more sacks than Javon Dexter. That's a pretty scorching hot take, because we saw basically nothing out of Zach Pickens in year 1, but he does have pretty good tools, just like Javon Dexter had, entering the NFL last year. So maybe if he did put in the work in the offseason, got better with this technique, and if he does earn more playing time this year, which he should, okay, with Justin Jones no longer being on the team, maybe this could happen. But I find it hard to believe that he's going to have a better season than Javon Dexter did, with Javon Dexter already being pretty good in the second half of last season, and Zach Pickens still basically being an unknown. So I don't think this is going to happen, but is it possible? Certainly. I'm going to stop it right there. There were a lot more comments to go through, but if I went through every single one, this video would be like 3 hours long. So I appreciate all of your comments. If you guys have more hot takes that you want me to react to, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to respond to them by commenting on them if I didn't get to yours, in this video. But yeah, leave your comments down below. I'll be back with more videos very, very soon. Training camp is only about less than a month away at this point, so I'll be having daily videos out for that. But besides that, I'll probably just be having more discussion videos like this, where I'm just randomly talking about Bears topics that, you guys want me to talk about, because there's not going to be much Bears news going on until training camp in July. So leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.